Hello guys, and today is a good day to talk about the destruction of at least 1/3 of the Russian Black Sea Fleet, and all because in Odessa there is a Black Sea Security Forum and a lot of very important statements were made as more and more politicians around the world are preparing for the continuation of Putin's war against the West and also for the post-Trump era. This seems more realistic than it was, let's say, in January, and actually one of the British colonels considered an opportunity for Ukraine to renew the weapons that we gave up together with Budapest Memorandum security guarantees that failed. If the guarantees failed, I guess we have a right to return back the weapons. I'm careful enough not to pronounce that word too often on YouTube, but I'm sure all of you understand we are talking about the nuclear ones. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine today in Kyiv, the bravest capital in the world. Remember to subscribe to witness the defeat and demilitarization of Russia together and share these videos if you share my opinion. So today an important event takes place in Odessa on the shores of the Black Sea, and remember all of you are invited to discover Ukraine, to visit two of our seas, the Black and the Sea of Azov, to visit Carpathian Mountains, but all we need to do to make it more comfortable and realistic to defeat Russia. And I think that the results that the Ukrainian armed forces and our marine drones have demonstrated in the Black Sea are very promising and demonstrate that with enough support, with no restrictions, because that is so unjust, we can achieve a lot. Starting from this full-scale war in 2022, Russia has lost more than 30% of its Black Sea fleet and actually had to relocate the headquarters of the Navy from Sevastopol in Crimea in Ukraine to Novorossiysk in Russia, where it logically belongs. And most importantly, it happened after the destruction of the Black Sea headquarters in Sevastopol. It was a huge mistake to allow Russian fleet to stay on the territory of Crimea after the collapse of the Soviet Union, and then during the next decades, Russians, the Kremlin, did everything to try and stay there. We all remember how brave Ukrainian sailors sent a Russian Black Sea fleet to go itself, and it actually happened to that very warship that was destroyed later by the Ukrainian armed forces, despite the fact that now we'll learn a lot of our allies were actually afraid and worried and did not want Ukraine to do that. I am sorry, this is so wrong. Like, you cannot remain somewhere in between. It is either Ukraine wins or Ukraine loses. And think what is better, not just for us, but for the world. So obviously we need to win and we need to defeat Russia. More than 50 Russian warships, various ships and boats were destroyed in the Black Sea, and the remains, the scrap metals, moved to Russia. But what is interesting, many of them actually remain somewhere either underwater or in a very bad condition, because Russia does not have enough resources to maintain them, and they are afraid, and all is done with the help of drones and marine drones. You have seen that some of our marine drones can actually target flying objects. We have already destroyed with our Magura drones 2 Russian helicopters Mi-8 and, what is more interesting, 2 Russian bombers Sus. That is amazing, and that is the future of this war, and a very vivid reminder: you need Ukraine in NATO. Don't let people manipulate your thoughts and just like say that it's fair that Putin is worried for NATO, strengthening and enlargement. We should speak, people who care for the democratic world, for freedom, for human life, we should speak about the dangers of Ruski Mir extensions to the West, not NATO extensions, because NATO is a defense alliance, and I cannot remember NATO bombing Belarus, Russia, or Ukraine, but I do witness that on a daily basis in Ukraine now from the Russian side. Please subscribe to demonstrate your solidarity with Ukraine. It is very important. Russia still lives in the past. They believe that Soviet Union can be reconstructed, or some actually think it still exists. And on my new channel there is a new video where I speak about this nonsense that recently one of Putin's advisors shared in St. Petersburg, saying that the USSR actually still exists. BS, only in their heads, and there is no way that people in Ukraine or people in Lithuania want back to the USSR. It's just Russia that is not capable of producing anything new, anything competitive. Thinks about that. And unfortunately, no matter how hard some try to hide their heads in the sand, that's what we say in Ukraine. I don't know if you have a similar saying, let me know in the comments below. Learning English is a very beautiful process when you have such an amazing community as ours. And I'm always grateful when you correct me. But understanding all that, understanding the fact that no matter how hard you apply escalation management or pretend you don't notice Russian war crimes, it's super important to arm Ukraine. And I'm happy that now a lot of weapons that we use on the front lines are produced in Ukraine, of course, with the support of our partners, of various fundraisers. Remember to support NATO 5th campaign. It's almost finished and I'm so proud of our community. And it is also about justice. And I was happy to hear that on that Black Sea Security Forum, Colonel Kemp from Great Britain spoke about the need to return Ukraine its nuclear weapons, because it's the way, agreements work. If you agree to protect us, to give us security, and the situation turned to the contrary, it failed. The agreement did not protect Ukrainians, and lots of our territories destroyed, lots of people lost. So that's a real tragedy during this already 11 years, not just 3 years of the full-scale invasion. So if one party, or actually a lot of parties, do not fulfill the obligations of the agreement, Ukraine is also free from that. And it was not stupid from our side to give away the nuclear weapons, because it was a decision of a very peaceful country. And I'm sure, in this context, it's nonsense to think that Russia decided to attack us preventively. A country that demonstrated its peaceful character and was among the first to give up weapons and to give up nuclear weapons. But right now, no one feels safe, and you see more and more countries actually think about that. More and more countries want to introduce that in their armies. And Ukraine has the potential, because we have power plants, we have scientists. You know that Ukraine was not just the breadbasket of the Soviet Union, but to a great extent, brains of the Soviet Union. A lot of Ukrainian scientists worked for the Soviet industry, and I am sure a lot of the things we need to know, we already know. And again, you don't have to be afraid of that, but you have to be afraid of Russia's victory. You have to understand that it's not our choice to be, this nation with a shield. I don't like it when people compare us to a shield or to a bridge. No, we are a nation, we are a country with almost perfect geographical position, with a lot of really good qualities that we demonstrate 24/7 during these years. And we want to have a normal shield that can protect us. At the very start of the invasion, no one stopped Russian missiles or bombs because people were afraid not of the Ukrainian deaths, but of the escalation. There are lots of wrong decisions, lots of restrictions, starting from let's not target oil refineries, or let's not sink warship Moskva, that will be too bad. I am sorry, what Russia does every hour to Ukraine is very bad, and it's Russian invasion, it's Russian aggression. It happens on our territory because they decided they can violate not just our borders, but the rules, the world order, which helped lots of generations of people in Europe and the world live more or less peacefully, more or less normal. I know you know that, but unfortunately there are still people who have doubts, who have fear, forgetting that when you face a bully, you cannot demonstrate fear or anxiety. You have to remain concentrated, united, listen to the people, or let the people who know what to do the job. And do the job. Subscribe to my Instagram, to my X, to my Discord, to my Blue Sky. All the links in the description of this video, including X and including a link to our merch shop with lots of good items that work well as reminders and conversation starters about Ukraine. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel, but most importantly, thank you for standing with Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!